Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Corrie V. I'm coming at you super chill today. One of my goals for this year is to kind of refresh my makeup collection. I have some really old things, some things that I never use. My lipsticks right now are really kind of overwhelming. Having too much makeup can definitely paralyze you, and I'm big on KonMari, so I feel like if I can't see it, I'm not going to use it. If I have something, I want it to be visible and easily accessible, and eventually you're gonna have to clean up your makeup collection, right? That is what this next little series is gonna be on. So I definitely want to like reduce some of the bulk of what I'm using, make sure I really love everything, and then kind of find holes for what I'm purchasing makeup to try out for my channel this year. Kind of know what I need to put on my shopping list. I can be a little smarter with my purchases. So let's first of all go through all of my makeup palettes, and I've kind of divided my palettes into two sections. I have kind of like colorful palettes and neutral palettes. I have 4 really colorful palettes, so I don't think I'll be decluttering too much of these ones. But then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pretty neutral basic palettes, so I'm pretty sure I could do some reduction here. So why don't we start with the colorful palettes, take a look, and kind of determine where to go. I'm also gonna be really good for this video and go through and timestamp everything. So if there's a particular palette you want to see, you don't really care about the rest of everything, check the time bar or the description box, and I'll have everything linked and timestamped. So let's start with this Vizier palette, which is so beautiful. Here we go. And I also have my Bioderma on hand with some cotton pads for cleaning up between swatches. So let's go ahead and begin. First of all, this Vizier white color is pretty chalky and underwhelming. Beautiful. A little powdery at pickup, but nothing too crazy. I think for this one I'm going to work kind of here. So let's move along to the purple. And we have this beautiful blue. Ooh, swatches beautifully. Then I'm moving up to this blue. Again, a little bit powdery, but just beautiful. And moving up to the greens now. This one I definitely don't think I use enough. Like, I need to be exploring that kind of mint color a little bit more. Generally I try to go for more yellow greens because I feel like it's just a little bit safer. The yellow, which I think is my most used shade overall. And there you go. There is the Vizier 08 editorial palette. I really love all of them, again, except for that white, which is just chalky and definitely not the best. Oh, so funny when you do swatches, how they end up like wrapping around your arm. Let's move on to the Sailor Moon palette, which again is brand new to my collection, so I haven't really explored it too much. But here we go. So let's just dig on in. So yeah, I'm really happy with the Sailor Moon palette. It's got some stunning glitters. It's got some kind of translucent looking sparkly glimmery shades. Some of the matte looking ones actually have a little bit of sparkle in it. But it looks like there's 3 really matte shades as well. And this year I really want to explore more with pinks, even though Bobbi Brown said that's not really my color. And this purple is just beautiful. Next up is this Alamar Cosmetics palette, which I got from one of my beauty subscription boxes. And I've been holding on to it mostly for these 2 colors because they're pretty unique in my collection, or they used to be. So let's go ahead and swatch this one. Ugh, so creamy and beautiful. This gold is like really kind of a green gold, and these swatches are stunning just with one dip. Isn't that beautiful? All 4 of those shades are just so beautiful. Let's go into the mattes now. And a little bit powdery on the mattes, but overall beautiful, very fall feeling to me. Let's go ahead and move on to the Zodiac palette. This one has some pretty matte shades in it, but at the same time it does have a lot of beautiful colors. So let's go ahead and start, starting with Aries. Again, very beautiful. I do love Colourpop's formula, and they're very bright and colorful without being like too crazy. The Capricorn actually has a ton of gold glitter in there. Not too sure how well the camera is picking up on that. I know I'm pretty much keeping all of these super colorful palettes. The real challenge will be seeing which of the matte palettes I can downsize. Especially some of my really basic palettes like the Tarte Tease, which one year was my project pan. I've done some pretty good work at panning it, and by now I'm pretty much ready to let it go if it means using one of my bigger palettes more often. So let's go ahead and swatch this little guy. Oh, so beautiful. They're so smooth. That is like literally my skin tone. Wink. Honestly, I still really love this palette. The shades are beautiful. They're not as powdery as some of the other mattes that I've used, and you can tell I really do love these 2 lighter shades because they're just so great for blending out and transitioning. So comparing these 2 colors, the closest I would have is Cafecito from the Alamar palette, which is pretty close to Heartbreaker, and probably Virgo. No, that's... If I find a good dupe for BFF, maybe I will let this one go. But honestly, I really do still love this little Tarte Lit Tease palette. I guess the next one I should swatch is this Fizzy Art. This is the VP01 Neutral Mattes palette, which is one of my project pans from last year. So we should see this. I'm sure I will have some dupes, maybe even of some of these Tarte Tease colors. So we will see what this one is like. Starting with this creamy color. And again, doesn't really do a lot for me, just like the really light color in the other Vizier palettes. But as soon as we get to the next color, it definitely shows up a little bit better on my skin tone. I don't know what it is about those like super white colors in these Vizier palettes that just not really my thing. And a lot of these colors are pretty similar to each other, but you can definitely see the depth. See if I can build this one up. The depth build between each shade, which means if you are really kind of taking your time and building depth, it's pretty straightforward to do with this palette, which for someone who's not a super pro with eyeshadow, that's pretty comforting. Then these two rows we have warmer brown shades, almost more neutral row underneath that. That one's great for my eyebrows too. Well, I guess so is this one. That one's more of like a gray, a true gray. And then we have the black shade, which is very black. So how beautiful is this? Just such a nice basic to have in one's collection. So let's see what's similar. This Heartbreaker. I definitely think Heartbreaker could be achieved maybe with this color and this color mixed. But BFF is still so purple toned. It's pretty unique. So I don't think there's a ton of overlap between these two shades. So moving on to this, You Had Me at Hello Colourpop. Pretty sure this came in a beauty box. I don't remember buying this on its own, but I've really grown to appreciate some of these shades. They are basic, but very nice. If you're doing kind of, doesn't look like you'll get a pink look out of these, but you definitely get some beautiful pink tones. At least they come out pink on me, and look how beautiful that light highlight shade is. Again, just stunning. Wonder if the Taurus is a good dupe for this one, and it's pretty close. I don't think you notice a huge difference on the eye, although I do think the Taurus is a little bit more like yellowy. And let's check the Libra. I think that's a pretty close dupe, if not an exact dupe, for I think the shade here, Sagittarius. Sagittarius is definitely a little bit more deep, but a very similar color to this bright purple. The Leo is almost exactly the same. Just got a little bit more of a, I think, a yellow shift in it, but it's hardly noticeable. Try Cafecito one more time compared to this one. I think this Cafecito is just a little bit warmer. And let's try BFF. And again, BFF is just a tiny bit more violet, but overall pretty similar. All right, I wasn't sure about this one, but I think at this stage, it also is different enough to keep going. So let's follow that one up with Modern Renaissance, which is definitely like a similar vibe going on. Maybe a few more oranges and a few more, I guess, almost pinkish reds rather than purpley reds. But let's take a look at this palette. Ooh, that's nice. I wish the Vizier light shades were a little bit more like this one. These ones are so like velvety to touch.
That is just such a unique grayish purple pinky beige color. Just beautiful. I definitely need to use this palette more. I think especially when I'm using like yellow type of eye looks, there's a lot of great transition shades in here. Now, just for curiosity's sake, let's compare this palette with some of these colors. Ooh, that's a very similar dupe there. Again, very similar color there. And here. Yeah, I think that's pretty similar to, what is that, Love Letter? Yeah, I don't think you could really see a difference when it's on your eyeballs. This one's pretty similar, but I can definitely tell this one has more of like a green base and this one has more of a warm base. There are a lot of dupes between these two palettes, but I think they're different enough that I should hold on to both of them. But pretty fun to go through and compare everything. Okay, and this one's definitely maybe on the chopping block. You can see I've definitely done a ton of panning on this guy. I really avoid the face shades, but I have used them as eyeshadows. Let's go through and see if this guy is worth holding on to or if it's finally time to retire it. So freaking beautiful. Ugh, I love them. Wow, it's just rekindling my love for this palette. These shades are so beautiful. I'm gonna skip Big Baby just because there's like nothing left. There is the Graveyard Girl palette. Even though it's old and really beat up, you can see I've really messed up the packaging on this guy. Just touching and going through and playing with these shades really makes me appreciate how much I love this palette. Pretty sure we have a dupe for BFF right now. Yeah, those are super similar. Crush is super similar to, I believe this is Sassy Bun. Kiss is pretty much a dupe for Uncommon. Maybe not exactly, but pretty darn close. So I think with that, I'm gonna say goodbye to this Tarte Lit Tease palette. We had a really good run, but definitely can recreate this whole palette with other things that I already own. Thanks for all the times we had Tarte Lit Tease, but time to move on. Moving on to Dream Street, another Kathleen Light's Colourpop collab. I think because of especially some of these darker colors, I'm not going to be able to part with it. So let's go ahead and swatch these. Ugh, again, they feel so nice. That is a beautiful kind of bronzy color. So beautiful. Let's compare it to this Alamar Cosmetics palette. Pretty sure these guys are not exact, but I feel like if you mix them together, you would get this shade. Cafecito. I guess they're pretty different overall. Some of these, like Sassy Bun and which one's this? Twinkle are pretty similar. One of the other ones from You Had Me at Hello and Stardust are pretty similar. A different one from You Had Me at Hello and Shooting Star are pretty close. But you can really tell just looking at these two palettes how different they are, even though there are some similar shades. Definitely think I'm going to hold on to both of them, even though they are somewhat similar. Moving on to this beautiful palette from Pat McGrath. This is the Mothership Sublime Bronze Ambition palette, and I got it at 50% off at Sephora. The shades in here look super basic, but oh my god, the formula is so beautiful. The only thing is this palette doesn't really stay open, so I'm just gonna have to like hold it open. Ugh. So beautiful. So soft. These are just a dream, and they are so multi-dimensional on your eyes. Ugh. Like, I'm really not into Pat McGrath lipsticks after I've tried a few and kind of got burnt. But I'm super interested in her eyeshadow palettes based on this one palette. I love it. Let's try to find some other similar colors to dupe with. Yeah, that's pretty similar. That's Elfish. Maybe just a little bit warmer. I feel like Stardust from the Dream Street palette is pretty similar. Sassy Ben from the Graveyard Girl palette, also pretty similar. I feel like Gemini from the Zodiac palette is kind of similar, but it's more yellow based versus like a true gold. Capricorn is kind of similar to the dark gunmetal shade, but it's a lot more of a true or cooler brown or black, whereas this is more of a burnt umber. Let's try Sippy Sippy. No, not at all. And I don't think I have anything that comes close to this beautiful burnt gold color. So one last eyeshadow palette. This is from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Icon palette, and it's Eyes to Hypnotize. Still not 100% sure how I feel about this palette, but let's go through and swatch it and kind of find out. Beautiful. Beautiful? It's okay. Ugh, beautiful. Just not sure I would wear all three at once, like her instructions kind of indicate. Gorgeous colors. Maybe I haven't given this palette a good enough chance. There is the Icon palette. Again, I got that one in a beauty box. I think it was a Beautylish Lucky Box. Now, what comes to mind is, again, the Alamar Cosmetics. So let's try these out. Kind of different, honestly. Not sure you can tell on camera, but do you prefer the formula of the Alamar? Again, kind of different. This one's more like neon, and this one's more like jewel toned. I do feel like this is kind of a weak eyeshadow, but at the same time, I don't think I have anything that's like an exact match. Maybe it's good for blending out, but I feel like I have a lot of things that are like decently close to it. Yeah, even that one's a little bit off. There is a shade from the Sailor Moon palette that's pretty exact to the Charlotte Tilbury. Another shade from You Had Me at Hello is almost identical. Oh my god, maybe I should declutter this palette. Ugh, look at that black. It's a lot blacker. Ugh, I don't know. Maybe I should let this one go. I think that one's a little bit different. Again, You Had Me at a Low, and it's pretty close, honestly. La Costa here is pretty similar to this one. So, looking at this, I think maybe I will declutter the Charlotte Tilbury. Maybe one of my friends would be interested to try it out. Because it is very beautiful, I just think I have too many similar colors already existing in other palettes to really appreciate this palette. Kind of surprising myself here, but I think I am gonna let this Charlotte Tilbury go. All right, friends. Well, that was a really fun slog through the old eyeshadow collection. Honestly, it's a pretty nice, diverse array of colors overall. And of course, I also have this Pat McGrath palette here. Doing this has actually made me feel pretty good about my collection. There are a lot of neutrals, but again, I think things are either unique enough to kind of stand on their own, or at least something in the palette is unique enough to make me hold on to that palette so that I can open up a single palette and do a complete look without having to dig around and find what I need. That was a really fun exercise. I'm actually getting rid of less than I thought I would be getting rid of. I thought I would have a lot more repeats. I'm gonna pass on the Charlotte Tilbury Icon palette. I think this one's just old and used up enough that I can just chuck it. Hope you enjoyed going through my eyeshadow collection with me. If you did, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more beauty videos from me. I put out new beauty videos every Tuesday and Friday here on my channel. A huge shout out to my patrons who help bring these videos to you guys, and a huge shout out to you for watching. And with that, I will see you all in my next beauty video. Bye!